Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks so much for joining me for another amazing episode. I love these solo episodes with you because it gives me the chance to come on here and just chat a little bit about something that's on my heart and hopefully help you expand your perspective, your awareness, and think about things in a different way. So, we know that this is the Happiness Happens podcast. We know that we talk about all things that are related to happiness on the show. We know that we interview amazing guests and they leave their incredible expertise and they share with us so much knowledge that we can take and bring into our lives every single day. Today, we're talking about vision and passion. It's going to be short and sweet because there are a couple things that I just want to hit on here with you today. When you talk about things like vision and passion, sometimes they can be turned into buzzwords. And what happens is they lose their actual significance, they lose their meaning, and we actually don't really do anything with them because honestly, they just become like words that we use in our regular vocabulary. We talk a lot about passion, but what is it? What is passion? When someone says, I'm so passionate about this one particular thing, or when someone says, I have so much passion for creating art or dancing or playing music, what does that actually mean? And on the other side of that, what if you don't know what you're passionate about? For me personally, I've never known what I've been passionate about, and everything that I find exciting somehow turns into a business. I don't know if that's the best model when it comes to pursuing your passions, but it's something that's worked for me, and I'll just take it. It's fine. When it comes to passion, I really want you to think about where the idea of passion comes from. Passion is not a person, it's not a place, it's not a thing. Passion is about understanding the feeling behind it. It's the feeling behind what it is that you actually desire and what you really want to create and bring to fruition in your life. So, while there are so many different things that we're passionate about, when you're chasing passion and you're trying to find that passion, what you're really trying to understand is the feeling behind that specific thing, the feeling that you get when you get to do X, Y, and Z, when you get to read a book, when you get to go for a walk, when you get to create art, right? It's that feeling that we're searching for behind the specific thing. I'm going to ask you, when it comes to finding your passions, what is missing right now for you? What is it that you're searching for that you might not have in your everyday life? A lot of times we get stuck in this like cycle of repeat. We wake up in the morning, we do our morning routine if we have one, we're going to work. If you're not working a corporate job, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're working for yourself. We get into our day, by maybe around 12 o'clock, maybe you eat something, maybe 1 o'clock, you've forgotten to eat if you're like me. Not a good habit. I don't recommend it. And then, maybe throughout the day, you're just kind of doing all of these things and checking off your to-do list and trying to advance into your different tasks and you're trying to just go on with your day, right? Then the end of the day comes, you finish your work day, maybe you're sitting and hanging out with the person that you love, family, friends, roommates, by yourself, whoever. Maybe you're turning on a little bit of Netflix and you know what? You just decide to go to bed. There's nothing wrong with this at all. And that is not what I'm here to say today. I actually do this on most days. But what happens is we get ourselves into such a rut and into such a cycle of wake up, work, do this, do this, do this, end the day. That doesn't really leave a lot of room for creativity. That doesn't really leave a lot of room for passion. When we're so worried about constantly delivering on all of the different tasks that we have in our day, we're not really prioritizing what brings us joy, what brings us fulfillment, and what brings us that inner passion, that inner feeling that we're looking for every day. So let this be your challenge today to switch it up. Do one thing today that's outside of your regular routine and see how that makes you feel. Does it make you feel more connected? Does it make you feel more grounded? Does it make you feel more spiritually in tune, right? What are you doing today to take yourself out of your comfort zone, out of your to-do list, out of your tasks, and tapping back into your flow, tapping back into your energy, tapping back into your passion, tapping back into what it is you want to be creating every single day and the magic that you're bringing to the world. So, like I said, there is nothing wrong with doing the day to day. We have to do it, right? Things have to get done. Our task list never gets shorter, and there's always something that we could be doing. But I'm going to encourage you today to just stop that cycle. Break that cycle right here, right now. What can you be doing differently in your life to bring you the passion, the joy, and the fulfillment that you're looking for? I want to switch gears for just a second here and talk about the idea of visualization. If you're like me, you may be someone who has a really hard time visualizing things. I'm not someone who can sit, meditate, and visualize all of the things that I want to come to me. That's just not how I work. And that's okay. A lot of us are like that. In fact, a lot of us have a really hard time even just sitting in meditation to begin with because there can be so many rules put around meditation. You have to sit in silence, you cannot move, you cannot do this. No. What I like to do in my own, as a side tangent to the whole conversation today, my own version of meditation is going outside and going for a walk for like an hour and clearing my head. I get my best ideas, I get the most amount of intuitive downloads, and I know exactly what I want to be doing next. Those walks are my favorite, and I can promise you I definitely do not do them enough. So that is, when you're talking about passion, that's one way that I connect back to mine. In any case, when we're talking about visualization, visualization is so much more than just the woo behind it, right? Visualization is actually based in so many different ideologies and methodologies, and we get to blend them together however we want to. And everyone teaches on visualization in their own different way. But ultimately, what's really happening is you're taking the thought that's in your mind, you're putting it out into the world in some shape or form, whether it's through, paper or visualizing, in your mind or what have you. And hopefully it's coming to fruition, it's manifesting itself in your life, right? Visualization can also be so much more than that. It's really about reprogramming our minds and reprogramming the thoughts, the ideas, the ideologies, the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are, what we do, and our purpose here in this life. But ultimately, it really is about reprogramming our minds. And I want you to think about it this way. When you have something in your mind, and like I was mentioning before about the stories that we tell ourselves, everyone has a projection of who we are in our life through their own lens, right? People are always making assumptions and judgments and ideas and stories and all of this stuff up about us that really have nothing to do with us, right? But a lot of the times, what happens is we take all of those stories that people have created about us, we internalize that as true for us, and then our mind gets programmed to believe all of these different things that may not necessarily be true at all, right? So when you think of visualization, I want you to think about it through the idea of reprogramming our minds. And this is something that I heard through Mel Robbins, something she spoke about. And it really resonated with me. And I had to touch on this because I had so many additional things to add to what she was saying. And I don't remember where I heard it from. It was on some YouTube video, some conference that she was speaking at, or something like that. But ultimately, what we're projecting outwards into the world is a set of beliefs that either we or somebody else has created for us that we have taken now as truth. Right? So when we go throughout our day to day, every single day, we visualize what we want to have for our lives. Oh, the story. The story comes in to tell you why you're not good enough. The story comes in to tell you why you can't do, have, or be the thing that you want in your life, right? That story comes, it creeps in and it derails us and it tells us that we're not good enough. And it tells us that we're not deserving of having what we want to have every single day. And it tells us that we are not made for anything more than what we have in this moment right now. When we project outwards, what other people are projecting inwards, that is where we need to put a boundary. That is where we need to put a stop. That is where we need to choose that we are worth it and that we deserve to have the specific thing that we're visualizing every single day, right? That's when we get to know our worth, right? That is why it's so much more than just the woo, because it's the ideas that we have in our minds, but it's also the scientific explanation of taking the specific thoughts that we have and creating that as our own reality. And so when you're talking about visualizing something, when you're really wanting to bring something to fruition in your life and you want, that specific thing, a goal, income goal, client goal, career goal, family goal, whatever that specific thing is, the programming that we have within us, the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are and what we do, will either help us or hinder us. They'll either help us achieve that next step or they're going to block us and give us a million reasons why we can't do the thing. So I really want you to take inventory. What are the stories that you're telling yourself every single day, right? What are those programs that people have put into you about who you are? What are those things that people have said that you can or cannot do, right? Do people have ideas about who you are that you don't agree with? I want you to take so much inventory of that and take a look at the stories that resonate with you, keep them, and then leave the rest. What we want to do is really start to spot the good moments about who we are, about how we show up in the world, and about what we do every single day, right? We need to train our minds to see more of that good, because the reality is our minds are programmed to see the negative first. No matter how hard we try, it's way easier to go and complain about something than it is to brag about something. Now, I'm in this networking group, and they talk about this idea. When you meet someone for the first time, people are either complaining or bragging. And I can't remember the last one, but this is just, I came to my mind right now and I wanted to tell you about it. But essentially, people are either complaining or bragging when they're talking to you. When you notice this, you'll notice that people, when they're complaining about something, are often coming from a place of lack, often coming from a place of feeling insecure, right? What creates that insecurity? Well, it's the stories that people have about us, right? The things that people have said we're good at, not good at, deserving of, not deserving of, and all of that, right? So I want you to really think about this, because how do we start to shift the conversation that we're having internally? Well, one of the key ways is by looking at what are the influences in our lives, right? How do we see more good? How do we notice more good? How do we have conversations that serve us more on a soul level instead of just buying into what other people tell us, right? How do we do this? We do this through gratitude. We do this through intention. We do this through action. And we do this through visualizing the you that you really want to be, how you want to be showing up in your life every single day, and what it looks like, what your life looks like when you finally get that thing, right? When you finally get that idea, when you finally get to the place that you want to be. What does that version of you look like, right? When you're looking ahead into your life, what kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to show up in the world every day? What do you want people to say about you if they have something to say, right? Do you want them to say, wow, you know what? I don't even have anything bad to complain, because this person is all of the things that I love, right? And you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And that is not what I'm saying. You don't have to be liked by every single person. But what I am saying is, where's your inner integrity, right? How do you take that inner integrity and share that with the world? How do you take the person that you really, really, really know you are and want to be, and stop hiding behind the stories and the shoulds and all of this stuff that we get stuck in every single day, and instead flip that script, right? And really walk and step into the person that we are and that you know that you are. So I know that it's hard to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. I know that it's uncomfortable. I know that it's not always the easiest thing to do. And I know this because I have been there and I continue to be there every single day in my life. I am honestly pushed to the max with, can I handle this one more thing? Can I do this specific thing? Do I know how to do this? You know, can I live up to the promises that I've made to people? Every single day I'm reminded of this. Every single day I choose to get up and push myself further, because I know that the version of me that I want to be sharing with the world every single day is someone who really values that. Stepping outside of my comfort zone, showing up in ways that I never imagined possible before. And I know that that's possible for you too. I know that that is a possible thing to do because I've done it. And so I really encourage you today to step outside of your comfort zone. Visualize the person that you are, that you want to become, the things you love about yourself already, and the things that you really want to integrate and welcome more of into your life. And then I want you to think about the passion, right? What's the passion behind all of this? What is your driving force every single day? And why do we feel like we need to do this, right? I'm going to leave you with this. I know it's not easy. But sometimes to become the person that we want, to have the life that we really, really know that we deserve, and to feel happy every single day, sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do, but we have to do it anyways. Even the things that we don't love, there is always an opportunity to find joy in any of the scenario that we're put in. And I know that this comes from a perspective of privilege, and I'm very aware of that. But at the end of the day, you get to choose, right? If you're not happy where you are today, no matter what has happened to you in your life, you get to make that conscious choice today for something different, maybe something more, maybe something better. So I'm going to leave you on that today. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode on the podcast. Rate and review the show if this resonates with you. I'm so grateful for you joining me today. I hope this conversation has moved you in some way, and I hope that this allows you to go out into the world today, bring your passion, bring your light, bring your energy, visualize who you want to be, step into her, step into him, because you so deserve it. I will see you on the next one, and share this episode on social media if it has resonated with you today. Also, you can probably share it with a friend too that you know needs to hear this message. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I will catch you on the next one.